ever notice that only black people have beef?
Yeah.
Only black entertainers, whether that's musicians, whether that's comedians, whether that's actors, only black people have public beef with each other. Whereas in you get in the public sector and tear down somebody else who is your peer for the purposes of pure disdain, anger, frustration, or for the sake of ticket sales, album sales, or movie streams, whatever. Only black people do this. You never hear about Justin Timberlake beefing with Harry Styles. You never hear about Garth Brooks beefing with Tim McGraw. You never hear that Brad Pitt came up on stage and slapped George Clooney in the middle of the Oscars. Only black folks do this. And it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And on some level, it's corny. I just saw a whole article in Forbes magazine where Forbes magazine actually wrote an article about this current rap beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar and Rick Ross and other people and Future, whatever. Now, mind you, most of these cats, with the exception of Kendrick Lamar, I couldn't even tell you a song. I could tell you a Drake song. But that's just me. That has nothing to do with the overall conversation. But I mention that because there's a level of the community, the population who has no idea, maybe even who these guys are, definitely what their music is, or why in the world would these grown men be beefing with each other. And I ain't talking about no young cats. I'm talking about cats in their late 30s, early 40s, or in Rick Ross' case, either pushing 50 or 50 plus. Beefing with each other over what? Over ignorance, over nonsense, over foolishness, and it's corny. It really is. Multi-millionaires beefing with each other over what? And what it really is plantation thinking. Because the heads of these major music groups and distribution companies who distribute their music, they not beefing with each other. They don't really care about what y'all beefing about. It's they only thing they care about is the slaves and the bucks on the plantation beefing with each other, fighting each other. You are literally beefing and fighting with each other for the pleasure of what you may think is the music buying audience, but actually for the pleasure of those who you serve, those who you are submitted to, those who own you, the top executives of these major international music distribution outlets. That's modern day cooning. That's modern day slavery. That's modern day buck dancing. Beefing with each other in public. Really? Grown multimillionaire men? Really? Really, sir? This is laughable. What are we doing this for? Somebody may say, well, you know, beefing, it helps ticket sales. It helps music sales. It helps stir up interest. But what does it do to the young people who follow you? What does it do to the community who observe you, who support you, who buy your tickets, who stream your music, who download your music, who follow up your sponsors? Most of them liquor sponsors and other sponsors who really shouldn't be sponsoring your type of music, but that's a whole nother conversation. But my point of it is what about the irresponsibility to be beefing in front of 20s and year-olds and teenagers who follow you, who think it's okay to be beefing with somebody over nonsense, over a diss track? A leaked diss track? Foolishness. What's really going on? And why is it that black people beef with each other in public? Now, are there show business rivalries today as well as those historically? Of course they were. There are several like behind the scenes or industry known show business rivalry. People today and people in the past who don't like each other. That's a fact. Just like any other industry or any other business or families, relationships. People sometimes don't get along with each other. But the fact that y'all utilize this for public consumption, for the sake of entertainment, seemingly, for the sake of clicks and likes, for the sake of staying relevant, is foolishness. It's corny. Now, not only are y'all too old for this, but I thought we learned our lesson. I mean, beef is nothing new in hip hop. Some of the most classic ones is Jay-Z versus Nas, LL Cool J versus Kool Moe Dee, Cannabis versus Eminem, and of course the most tragic one, Tupac versus the Notorious B.I.G. That one is the one where we should all have learned our lesson about rap and beef. about stirring up this type of nonsense, getting people hyped up and getting people encouraged to act out, to show out, to talk out and speak out, to even react violently in some cases. Now, people may think like, well, none of them are acting or reacting violently. True enough. So it's not that big of a deal. But as I said, the problem is it's the younger people. It's the people watching. It's the fans. Years ago, I was at a concert in Mississippi. I think it was at the University of Mississippi. And in the show, I was hosting, and I had a joke about R. Kelly. And one of the guys was a student in the audience. He was repping Chicago hard, so my joke about R. Kelly made him extremely upset. Now, this is way back in the days. This is like the late 1990s. This is before all the scandal, even before R. Kelly urinated on the child. Before all of that, people were still repping R. Kelly and were still upset about R. Kelly. And this guy came walking up to me. And literally, no exaggeration, nor am I trying to hype myself as I'm this big, bad, tough guy. I had to literally knock this dude out or down in the middle of a show because he was repping his city and his artist, R. Kelly, so hard that he was willing to put his life and his freedom at risk and attack another grown man in the middle of a comedy show in front of 900 people, and wound up not only getting knocked down by me, but getting dragged out by the security and getting arrested. What I mean by mentioning that story is this: what somebody takes for entertainment, somebody else takes for reality. And the hip hop artists who are engaging in this type of tomfoolery and foolishness and this type of boasting, braggadocious talk, even violent talk, and I don't even know if the lyrics that they're even talking about are violent. My point is that somebody else may take what you take for entertainment and take it seriously, and then it turns to a whole other thing. All this beef needs to stop, whether it's comedy beef, whether it's hip-hop beef, whether it's actor against actor beef. Man, at the end of the day, if you're an entertainer and you blessed enough to make a living at what you do, what we do, man, that's enough in itself to be peaceful and to show love to somebody else, even if they have something you want, better you, have angered you, frustrated you, even took advantage of you. If it's that deep selling in the courtroom, or do what the word says: if you have aught with your brother, take it to your brother. If he don't listen, go back and take witnesses. If he still don't listen, take the elders of the church. I know this is not Christians in a Christian circumstance that we're speaking of, but the values still are the same. If it's that serious, communicate, sit down and talk about it. But this public beef, man, we too old for this. We don't learn our lesson about this. And this is mad corny. Real talk.